Vavakamet is Vav Amud Aleph. That's the name of the game. Vavakamet is Vav Amud Aleph. The Shiur is Luilu Nishma, Slovi Moiri, Menachem, and Akiva. Refuas Yosef Israel ben Chai Michal, Yudis Bas, Rivka, Osher ben Ozna, Besoich, I don't remember the other name, Besoich Shachol Yisrael. Okay, let's now review a little bit of yesterday's Amud. We had a very versatile Amud. We had different things we spoke about yesterday. Anybody wants to remind me what we did yesterday? Do we say that a person who damaged another person, someone's money, someone's possession damaged the other one, and he died? What can you take from the Yomi? What can you take from the heirs of the person who damaged? So Me'ikar Din in the Gemara's times, what? Karka. We said only Karka you can take, but there was the Konas HaGeonim later on, by the times mentioned in the Rishonim, that the metaltalin as well. They made a takana that metaltalin should be able also to be taken from the Yisomim, so the Nizak doesn't lose. The Nizak doesn't lose in case you only have metaltalin, you can take from metaltalin. And in any event, even if they took metaltalin, even if he took metaltalin, the Gemara says even before the Konas HaGeonim, if he chose to take metaltalin and he took the law into his hands and he took the metaltalin, then the metaltalin are his, because he took the payment. And as we said, Baruch, it doesn't mean he can barge into the house. It doesn't mean that he can, behave disrespectfully or be over in the lot aseh of the aseh b'chutz ta'amod. Even if he does it disrespectfully, but he took it to himself, at the end of the day, it's his. There was one thing we said yesterday. Also, we spoke about B'nai Choyrin, B'nai Bris. Who are they before that? What kind of Beis Din can we use for Mominus? What level of Dayanim should we have when we have a halachic court case of money? There are two different levels. What do you say? 3 and Mumchin. When do you have to have Mumchin? We said in the Mishnah they have to be Mumchin. 4? Very good. Shia, you guys are rock. For Knas. Knas requires a basis of Mumchin as opposed to regular payment, which you can go to any 3 Ro'ei Boko. You can go to 3 cowboys, nice Jewish boys, with very little knowledge. By the way, you know what it says cowboys and not Ro'ei Tzoin? Why doesn't it say the shepherd boys, the shepherds of the sheep and the cattle? Because they're Gazlonim. It says you're not allowed to breed cattle to graze them. You're not allowed to graze them in Eretz Yisrael, to breed them, because they end up grazing on other people's fields. That's one of the takonos when they came to Eretz Yisrael. Takonos Yoshor, Ezra, one of them. So you're not allowed to breed sheep in Eretz Yisrael. It's a good question, and I don't remember the answer, unfortunately. Because you do get sheep, you raise them for Beis HaMikdash. I guess to breed them in a very specific place, only for Beis HaMikdash use or something like that. But to start your own startup, sheep.com, and he shepherds them. That's also because they come to Goizel, Gzela. That's why the Mishnah in Sanhedrin says Roy Boko, because cows don't have that issue apparently. The cows, you don't see them grazing all over the place like that. They stay in the cow shed. They eat their own food. And that's why by the cows, it's okay. That's what it says Roy Boko, not Roy Tzoy. That's very first. Okay. In any event, when it comes to Knas is a serious business. Knas means what? Knas is something that's not regular money that I owe you. It's money that the Torah said that the person should pay, in a way irrelevant. The amount that he pays is not exactly relevant or adequate to the damage done. That's more like a din Torah. There's even a lomdisha thing that once a guy told me, someone who visited Gibraltar once, he told me that there's an issue in the Achronim. Some people even ask, why is it that the Knas ends up in the pocket of the Nizok? Maybe pay Knas and give it to the public, to the shul. The idea of Knas is more that you have to lose because you did something so bad. At the end of the day, at the receiving end is a Nizak, but it's not exactly payment to the Nizak. He didn't lose $200, he lost 100. I only stole 100. Why does he get 200? Because I have to pay extra because of the vicious act I did. That's Knas. We're going to talk more about Knas today. But today we have very, very clear 2 different parts to today's Shiur, Mirza Hashem. We have one about women, and then we have one about Knas. 2 things. Yep. Says that Gemara, the two dots, Utes Vav Amud Aleph, in that nekudatayim, v'anoshim b'chlal hanezek, anoshim b'chlal hanezek, welcome Rabbi Simkin, anoshim b'chlal hanezek. Okay, minani mili, noshim are included in damage. It doesn't mean that women damage anybody, don't worry, we're not saying that. A very feministic Amud today. Yeah, we say women are included in Ezek, that is to say, both ways, that if a woman's cow was damaged, then we have to pay her. And if her cow or bull damaged other people, she has to pay. In other words, women are equal to men completely when it comes to monetary issues. When it comes to things to do with money, the Isser to steal or the Isser to steal from a person. So women are exactly like men for all intentions and purposes. That is what we're saying here. The question is, how do we know? What do you mean, how do we know? Because the Torah really talks in Oshan Zocho, right? The Torah was written and the Kodesh Baruch Hu didn't put that slash thing, you know? Right, today, because of egalitarian, you have to write everything Zohar and Nekeva. Chaver slash hey, Yakar slash hey, right? Toshav slash Toshevet Yakara. They have it also in French and in Spanish. Very, if you forget it, Rahman al-Tzlon, they'll hang you on a tree. Yeah. So then, but the Torah wasn't written like that. The Torah says Lo Tirtzach, doesn't say slash Tirtzachi. So how do you know that Torah applies to women as much as to men? Maybe the Torah is given to men only. Okay, so now we have to find each and every case. 3 different parts of Torah are now going to be explained. How do we know that they apply to women too? Minani mili. Amar v'yodo amarav, v'chen tan dever b'Shmuel. We're going to talk about 3 different areas of Torah here. Amar kro. It says in the pasuk, Ish o isha ki yasu mikol chatos ha'odom. It talks about a korban, and that korban over there, it says, yeah, chatos, ish or isha. Over there, the Torah does include a woman clearly, men or women that sin, michol chatos ha'odom, any sin done by a person. So then we say that they have to bring a korban. Yeah, now from here we know what? What do we know from here? We know we know that a man and a woman is compared to a man for all punishments in the Torah. Meaning that a korban, why does a person bring a korban chatas or korban osham, the korban we spoke about there? Not because it's a feel-good thing. The korban chatas is something you have to bring. It's a form of punishment / kapara. You have to be mechaper on what you did. You have to atone for what you did. You turn on the light on Shabbos by mistake, terrible mistake. Nobody's going to kill you, but bring a korban. You have to deal with it. It's a mistake that needs to be corrected. And therefore, the korban, in a way, is like an oynish. Yeah, it's some kind of, in a way, I would say the other way around, to be more hashkafically correct. An oynish is not because Hashem is angry with you and he's punishing you because Chas v'sholom, anybody's in a power struggle with you. And oynish, let's say malchus, when they lash a person, it's also a kapara. It's a kapara. Every onshim is a way to cleanse the person, to clean the person, to purify the person, be it a korban or be it another oynish. So the Lamaisa, when the Torah talks about men and women regarding korbanos, it's telling me that regarding all onshin, all punishments of the Torah, women are liable as much as men. What's the Chiddush? Says Rashi in Kiddushin, not over here. Rashi says, we all know that women are potter from, what kind of mitzvahs are women potter from? It's mangroma, right? A woman doesn't have to sit in the sukkah, doesn't have to take lulav, v'chulei. Many mitzvahs are exceptions to the rule. This rule has many exceptions, but Lamaisa, a woman is potter from many mitzvahs as mangroma. So one could argue and say, mitzvahs to say they're potter, so maybe also the potter from mitzvahs, lo taseh. Maybe they're allowed to do averos. Just like mitzvahs say they're not the same. Maybe mitzvahs lo taseh are also, there's some kind of, difference between them and the men. Kamash mala, no. Oinshin are brought for what? For lo taseh. When it comes to lo taseh, which carries with it an oynish, that the woman is equal to the man. So that's number one. That's number one. When it comes to lo taseh, men and women are equal. So nice and egalitarian. Yeah. I can already imagine the title I'm writing today on YouTube. Everyone's going to read the very advanced words I'm going to write. Yes? Okay. Comes another statement. Dever Rabbi Elazar Tana. Rabbi Elazar's besmedra should learn a different brayso about women. Ve'ela mishpatim asher tosim lifneihem. These are the mishpatim, these are the rules, these are the laws, the beginning of Parshas Mishpatim, which you should put in front of them. You should place in front of them. What does it mean in front of them? Either means in front of the Yoni Israel and not Akum. You're not allowed to go to a Goyish court unless you really, really have no choice. But he is learning a different drasha. The Torah compared woman to man for all dinin Shabbat. Now, din means money. Dinim here and in other places, the word din doesn't just mean regular judgment or a court case or whatever. Din means money. When it comes to the halachos of monetary laws, don't steal and don't be stolen from, so to speak, applies to both men and women. And soon also we're going to explain what's the chiddush over here. All will be explained in the Gemara. But remember, number one, women are equal to men regarding oinshin. They're not allowed to do lo ta'aseh, and if they do, should turn on the light on Shabbos, korban, skila, whatever. It depends on the level, Second statement, men and women are equal when it comes to monetary laws, right? It doesn't mean to testify in Beis Din. It means that she's not allowed to steal, like a man cannot steal, and vice versa. Now, the third statement, Devei Chizkiya v'Rabbi Yossi Glili Tana. Here comes the third and last one, and it says over there from Chizkiya and Rabbi Yossi Glili, Amar Kro v'Heimis ish oy isha. He talks about a shor that gored a person, and if this shor was a shor muad, and he gored 3 times, and by the third time he gored a person and killed it, so that shor muad that killed a human being, it says mufurash ish or isha, man or woman, ish rakosov ish shalish lechol misos shebatoiro. That is to say that if a man or woman are being damaged, something is done to them to the level of death, or injury, then we say men and women are equal, and you have to pay equally for men or women. You have to take the woman's worth and pay to the family. That's what's done. Let's say a show. Let's say my dog, my I don't know, not my poodle, my Amstaff. You say it in English, Amstaff. You know that? How do you call it? Amstaff? How do you say Amstaff? No, Amstaff. It's a type of dog.
No.
I don't know, maybe it's pronounced Amstaff is a dog. In Hebrew, they say Amstaff, I don't know, whatever. Definitely exists and definitely very, very dangerous. And it killed a girl in Tel Aviv years ago. The kids are, it's a very vicious dog. Whatever, Lomshane. The kids have a vicious dog. Which one? German Shepherd, whatever. Doberman. Doberman, right. A Doberman, a dingo, whatever. So, Pitbull. So the dog killed a man or a woman, you have to pay, if it's a muad, to kill. The third time you have to pay the value of the man or the value of the woman in the market, in the marketplace, in the job market, And therefore, however much he or she were worth, that's what the Torah says you have to pay. So see, when it comes to misos, when it comes to paying for death, men and women are equal. So we have 3 things that men and women are equal, and they all have to be mentioned. Each one is a chiddush of its own. We're not discussing now, Ellen, the point of a woman being an aid, although the Tosfos does discuss it, but the Gemara doesn't. And if we have time, we're going to discuss Tosfos a little bit. But right now, let's continue the Gemara. Tzrichi. What's tzrichi? The Gemara is surprised. Why do we need all 3 cases? Why can't we just say men and women are equal and finish the story? Be like the Western world. And Gemara says the Gemara, no, it's not so simple. Diyashmin and Kamaisa, had you only told me the first statement, maybe just tell me the first statement. Men and women are equal when it comes to Oinshin and Kaporo, a person who sinned, b'mitzvah lo ta'aseh, as opposed to aseh, then he or she has to bring a korban, they have to get lashes, whatever. If I would have only mentioned that, I wouldn't have known the other ones automatically. I wouldn't have derived other areas of halacha automatically from that. Why? I would have said, Hossam, who over there, the chas rachmana Allah, the Torah has mercy on the woman, poor woman. She should have a kapara. She should have a kapara. In other words, because the korban is really a way to atone for the person and it's good for the person. And as I told you before, also when the person gets lashes, even misa, when he or she die, lamaisa, it's a kapor for olam haba. It's a great way out. In olam haba, it would have been much, much worse if they didn't get the proper oilish and olam hazeh. So maybe when it comes to mitzvahs lo ta'aseh, we want them to get the proper kapara, both men and women, whoever chmanus on them, aval dinin. But when it comes to monetary laws, then I would have still made a difference. What would have I thought? Ish debar, not dvar, debar masomatan in. A man is more likely, I'm talking pre-60s, yeah? A man is more likely to be the one doing the masomatan, the one who's doing the business, the negotiating, the business world, is more involved in the business world in. So maybe by him, all the halachas of stealing or selling the right way, not lying, not paying to your workers on time, it applies to him. But Isha, loy, I would have said a woman, no. Maybe a woman is anyhow much less involved in the business world. Yeah, she's more at home, and therefore what? I would have said that she's not involved. Maybe these halachas don't apply to her. Maybe they don't apply to her, like they said, but Mrs. Esther's Mangrama, she doesn't have time to start taking lulav right now and davening Shmon Esrei while her kids need to have breakfast or supper. Yeah, that's very, very logical. So maybe a woman doesn't have to keep the mitzvahs of the Choshen Mishpat. That's I would have thought. We're not saying that's the truth, but I would have thought so. So Mimela now with the Torah had to tell me, no, Asher Tosim Lifneim, really, it's telling me that men and women are equal regarding monetary laws as well. Says the Gemara, okay, V'yesh min and dinin, so tell me only dinin. So the Torah should have told me, Ish ve'isha are equal when it comes to dinin, to monetary laws, to Choshen Mishpat, and it would have known automatically about the other one. Says the Gemara, no. Yesh min and dinin, I would have thought, Ki echid etevi lachayusa, a woman has to have life. What does that mean? If a woman would be exempt of all halachas to do with Choshen Mishpat, you know what kind of nasty signs would be on the stores? Yeah, a feminist nightmare. You would have said no entry for women. Why? Because if women are allowed to steal, nobody would want them in the shop. And if a woman's allowed to be stolen from, if she opens the shop, everyone will come and steal from her. In other words, nobody would want to do business with a woman if she's allowed to steal and be stolen from. The women would be the society's outcast. You won't be enable them, yes, to do business when they want to. Life, chaim. Because it makes sense that men and women should be equal when it comes to the monetary laws. Otherwise, women cannot shop, cannot open businesses, cannot do anything in the business world. They can't have chaim. So I would have said, oh, that makes sense. Of course, men and women are equal over there. Aval kaporo, when it comes to kaporo, I would have said the other way. Ish de bar mitzvah. Here's bar mitzvah. And ish, which is bar mitzvah in. Isha de lav bas mitzvah loy. A man is bar mitzvah, which means not that he's 13, but once he's 13, he has many mitzvahs that apply to him. Women have less mitzvahs. So maybe women don't have an oynish, just like, as I told you before, just like a woman is potter from all the mitzvahs and seshas man groma, they have less mitzvahs that apply to them, and also shaving the beard. You know, a woman has a beard, she's allowed to shave the beard. That's what it says. Yeah, a woman has a beard. She's allowed to shave it and all, even with towel. After my whole heated speech, I should say that, those barber shops that are treif, you can have women going there, shave their heads like Satmar. Yeah, the kids are no problem to shave whatever the here and there. Yeah, women have less mitzvahs than men. Torah, Talmud Torah, no mitzvahs by women. Yeah, so Mimela, what? I would have thought Mimela, woman also is potter from Einshin. She's less into mitzvahs than men. That's what we would have thought. Kamash Malan, no. That's why we need two different statements. When it comes to chiyuvei mitzvah, except for those mitzvahs that are known not to be, other than that, women are as obligated as men for everything else. A woman is not allowed to kill or mechalel Shabbos or v'chule, anything to do bein odom lamokom. And if they do, they get punished or kapara just like men. Same kind of korban. A woman has to go to Beis Hamikdash, bring her korban, no nonsense, right? And also, even though she's potter from lulav and from sukkah, and also the other halacha is what? Regarding money, don't tell me the women are not involved in the business world. It may be true to an extent. But we do want them to be able to have life. We want them, yes, to be able to shop around and open businesses and sell v'chulei, right? We say, Neshes Chayil, yes, she does business in Neshes Chayil. And Mimela, we say women should be equal to men in all areas of money. So these are the two first ones. Now, what about the third one? V'yeshmin and Anitarti, had the Brises only told me the first two, I would have said, okay, Alcha Mishum Kaporo. Here a woman needs Kaporo. The mitzvahs do apply to her, and she needs the kapor for the mitzvahs. Alcha Mishum Chiyusa. When it comes to business world, to money, she needs life. She needs also to sell, to buy, to do things. Aval Inin Ktolo. What about if a man was killed and a woman was killed? Maybe you would only pay for the man, not for the woman. We're not saying if you killed him yourself. Let's say my bulldog, my boxers, whatever, my thing, killed a man or killed a woman, maybe then there's a difference. Why should there be a difference? Because ish, the bar mitzvah, the shalom koifer, a man is more chayv the mitzvahs than a woman. So maybe he is worth more, spiritually speaking, and then you have to pay koifer. Isha loy. I would have said a woman, no, a woman is not chayv b'mitzvahs as much as men, and therefore, if my dog bit it and killed it, or my shor gored it, maybe I'm not mechuyev to pay. Where did we find that men are more than women regarding saving their lives? Because they do more mitzvahs, and therefore you have to save the life of the man before you save the life of a woman. If there is a building that collapsed, lo aleinu, you save the man first. I mean, if everything else is equal and you only have resources for one person, we saw it in the end of Harias. It's a mission at the end of Harias, the previous Masechta we did. Lo aleinu, Rachman litzlan, two people drowning in the sea. They're both as frum or not frum. They're both, everything else is equal. But the man you save before the woman because the man is going to be Mekai more mitzvahs, if that's the case. Because he's supposed to Mekai more mitzvahs. On the other hand, we said when it comes to tzedakah or pidyon shvuim, then what? Then the woman comes first. Because a woman to be in jail is much worse than men because they'll abuse her, to put it mildly, as opposed to the men. Yeah? Or tzedakah also. Tzedakah, it's more of a shame for her to go around collecting than men. It's not a big shame to go and collect. Okay? So these are, I would have said a havamina that maybe a koifer, only a man I would pay if a man died because of my bull and not a woman. Kamash malano, men and women are equal also regarding payment for their death. Nah, v'yishmin and koifer. Aha, so tell me only the third one and not the other two. We keep playing the ping pong. So tell me only koifer, and I would have automatically derived the rest. Says the Gemara, no. The Yishman and koifer mishumdika ibud neshama. It's a life. Oy v'hoy. You killed a person. You killed a Jewish neshama. Who cares if it's a man or a woman? You're going to go scot-free because she's just a woman, and therefore your shor killed my mother, killed my daughter, killed my wife, and you're going to go scot-free. It's a neshama. So, of course, over there, men and women are equal. Yesh gvul to the chauvinism. Avalani, tarti, the leka with neshama. But these two, where there is no life and death matter involved, right? We're not talking about life and death. We're talking about a korban, we're talking about oynish, we talk about money. So over there, neshama is not involved. I would have said maybe then men are more than women. Sricha. That's why we have to mention all three cases to tell me that in all three accounts, men and women are equal. For what? They're equal in oinshin and kapora, right? Like bringing a korban. They're equal in anything to do with money. Men and women are exactly the same. And also the third thing, men and women are equal when it comes to if an animal gored one of them, either gender, it had, the bailim has to pay, gored and killed, and it was muad. A shor muad, muad killed the person by goring it, or the dog by biting it, then you have to pay, besides the fact that the shor should have been put to death already long ago, that's besides the point, also you pay the man's worth or the woman's worth to the family when that happens, lo aleinu. By the way, speaking of business, it's a very interesting idea. Just I don't want to start here a whole traffic discussion about women, although it can be very interesting. He's speaking, there are basically two areas in Halacha B'Gadol that men and women are not equal. Area number one is mitzvah says Zman Goma, right? Zman Goma, women are potter, the potter from Sukkah, potter from, right, Lulav, potter from Tzitzis, Tzitzis only by day, Tefillin is only by day, the potter from Tefillin, V'chulei, except for women on the wall. Maybe they have a different Allah. But outside Kosel Maravi, women are potter from Tefillin. The kids are, it's not funny you're saying, I agree. The kids are, and the other area is women in the public arena. When it comes to public, women are more tsanua, so a woman is not be a, although it's exeris hakosuv, the woman's not supposed to be a proper aid, and therefore aid, not A-I-D, but Ayin Dalid, yeah? An aid and a woman, or except for certain cases, women are an aid, like for an Eishasish that died, yeah, or things like that. And a woman is allowed to be, and to be a judge is a question also, because whoever cannot be an aid cannot be a judge either, except for Dvorah Neviah, because Dvorah Neviah was a special thing. Tosis over here says that Ishak Shelodu Shemikadl Nosum Shum Shechina. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to accept Dvorah, that was a one-off. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave her smicha l'dayonos. So Dvar was a different story. Other people say Dvar Nevi. I think Moshe Feinstein says a woman can assume how do you call it, authority when there's no men. No men can do the job, only she can do the job, then she can take the reins. She can sit on the throne. What? Yael is not a shofetis. No, Yael just did a very courageous thing that she killed Sisera. And we spoke about it at the end of Arias, but she was not a shofetis. No. No, she was not a judge. She was not a judge. What?
You can also explain her as you're allowed to accept any idiot of both sides except.
Right.
And then you could accept the woman in that.
I hear.
They
They accepted her upon themselves.
As the best man of their generation.
Right. Right. Welcome, Shanish Tisha. The other, I hear you. So Moshe Feinstein also says when it comes to, I saw the tshuva, Mishgiach Kashrus, a woman maybe should not be Mishgiach Kashrus. She can be under certain conditions. There's no man. Rav Simkin's not there. Anybody as good as you is hard to find. So you get a woman instead because there's nobody around. The Maisa, the interesting thing is that a woman is not supposed to assume responsibility. Me'ikar adin, a woman is not allowed to be a malka or anything of authority. It says around melech v'lo malka. A woman is not supposed to be, let's say, a queen or a head of state. Me'ikar adin, unless you can say nobody else can do the job. Okay, we can start a discussion here. But me'ikar adin, a woman should not be the head of state. The funny thing is, really, what comes in halacha comes out in halacha is something very interesting, because when it comes to business, a woman is allowed to own business. And she's allowed to employ many people. Why? Because it's her private business. Yeah, well, there's no difference really between a seamstress that has a business of one man, she's a one-man business, or she's a seamstress, she grew it from a seamstress, you know, these stories you read, into a fashion giant, and now she's a tznius. And she's now employing 5,000 people. That's okay, halachically. So funnily enough, a woman can be in charge of 10,000 people if it's a private business. But she cannot be the head of state if the state only has 500 people. Some states are like that. Yeah. Golda, I don't know. That's why America never had a woman president, because they're machmir. The Americans are machmir, they never had a woman president so far. No, Mashiach will come before. Yes. Says the Gemara, we're in the two dots now. We're more or less in the middle of the page. Two dots, Zahut, two dots, Itmar. Itmar is a new issue, and this is a very, very crucial central Gemara in the entire issue of Keren. Very, very important. Itmar. Palga Nizka. Itmar means, by the way, Mechavrusa just told me I never knew it my entire life. Itmar always means, I always know Itmar means a statement of a Meroim. He told me Itmar also means it's always a Machloikis. I never knew that, but it's true. So far, so good. Itmar, whenever the Gemara says Itmar, this is an Amoraic statement, and it's a dispute, Machloikis, between the Meroim. Itmar, Palga Nizka. Who pays half nezek, my dear friends? When do you pay half nezek? I know you know, I just want you to. Tam, Shor Tam. Yitzchok took it, that's it. Shor Tam. Palganiska. Rav Papa Amar Mamoino. Rav Huna Bar Rav Yeshua Amar Knoso. Rav Papa says that payment is considered as mamoin, regular payment of money, and Rav Huna Bar Rav Yeshua says means it's a knas. I will not even explain what that means because the Gemara will do a much better job than me. Rav Papa Amar Mamoino. Rav Papa says when you pay half, that is a reduction. Instead of paying how much was the bull that he gored worth, it was worth 1,000. A good bull, a good shor, you only pay 500. That's a 50% reduction. That's like a sale in Marks and Spencer. Yeah, 50% off is what he gets. That's mamoino. That's not knas. You're paying less than you're supposed to. Like we're being nice to you. Instead of paying 1,000, which we're supposed to, you only pay 500. That's so nice. That's mamoin. It's not knas. Why is that? Kasova, he thinks, stam shvorim lav b'chezkas shimur kaiman. A regular shor is not muchzak, is not supposed to, is not assumed to be nicely behaved and guarded, naturally guarded, and therefore you should have looked after him. You should have watched him, mister. Don't tell me, hi, my shor gored. I would never believe them a shor gored, you know, like the parents find out a teenager, I don't know, smokes or something, you know. I wouldn't have believed that he would do it, you know, such a tatale. Your teenager is a teenager, lahavdil, the shor is a shor. He's not supposed to be a cute little baby. Ubadin hu me'ikra adin, the boy lishlume kule. Really, he should have paid everything. you should have anticipated, Mr. Owner, that just like you know your shor eats and your shor walks, and there of course it's very, very normal. It's true that goring and kicking is less normal, and it's true that some shvorim behave nicely. That's true, and some teenagers make the room. That's true. However, lemaisa, a lot of shvorim are quite prone. It's quite natural for a shor to gore. You should have guarded the whole thing, and you should have paid the whole thing. We're being nice to you. The Rachmana, who's Rachmana? The Torah. The Torah. Who the Chasalei? Rachmana had Rachmanus onim. Rachmana had Rachmanus. Hashem had Rachmanus onim. The Torah. Dakati lo yai Torah. Because he's not yet muad. It's a first-time offense. Second time offense, it's still not as expected, still a gray area. So the first 2 times you get a nice reduction of 50%. But of course, what you pay is not knas, is not some extra thing. It's not extra, it's minus, it's less. Say thank you to us that we only charge you 50% and not the whole thing, and that's under mammon. Knas means usually knas means you pay more than what you did, right? I stole 100, I pay an extra 100. Knas is more, right? Here it's less. It's not knas, it's mammon. Now, what does the other opinion say? No, knoso, it's a knas. Why is it a knas? A normal shor, unless we know otherwise, he's assumed to be a good boy. The cow is a good girl. In other words, except for vicious animals, which we're going to see, as we all know, there's a Meshigas in the Western world, people that raise lions and tigers in the backyard and all that. It exists in different places in Europe also, not just in America. So when you talk about a lion that you raise, whatever, yeah, you breed, yeah, your pet is a lion, you don't assume it to be a good boy, that's for sure. But when it comes to a cow, or a bull, or a dog, which is not achsis and emsta, for a regular dog, we assume that he'll be okay. And the surprise of the owner is a real surprise when it really happened the first time. Wow. It's like an oinus. The first 2 times, I shouldn't have had to pay at all, because really Karen is way out of line. It's very unexpected. The Torah made him a knas. Really, you're supposed to pay 0. Logic would have it, you're supposed to pay 0. But because we want to scare you off, don't do it next time. We want you to be noter, to look after your Torah and guard it properly. Therefore, we say, don't park here next time. Yeah, the area doesn't want you to pay to park in that area. You didn't bother anybody. Nobody was in the Merkaz Mischari that time at all. You still have to pay the 100, the 250, because don't do it next time. In other words, it's an extra payment as a warning. That's knas. So in other words, it's a very, very simple machloikis. What's 50? The full half or the empty half? Do we say you should have paid 100? Right, 100, and now we gave you a reduction of 50 because really it should have been expected, you should have known better, but okay, 50 less? Or do we say no, you're supposed to pay 0? Why? Because really it's very unexpected, very out of line. You were not meant to think that you're short, you're not always near the shore. You really didn't think it's going to start goring. So, but the first time, the second time, we only make you pay 50% more than you're supposed to, more than the 0, because we want to give you a warning sign. That is the crux of the machlokes. Is chetzi nezek mammon? Is it money or is it knas? Who cares? My question is, and the Gemara will discuss later, who cares whether it's knas, mammon, or whoever, Ephraim's socks? What? Yeah, what's enough kamina la'alocha? We said yesterday, what happens when a person admittance, confesses, when is it potter b'knas? Not by money. By money, we say moide b'knas. There's no moide b'knas. It's money. By moment, even if you admitted, I stole, I'm so sorry. Oy vavoy vavoy. When I was 2 years old, my mommy didn't take me to Chutz La'aretz. I'm so traumatized. Oy vavoy. And therefore, I became a thief. But I'm all very nice. So we'll send you to a shrink. But Lamaisa, what you stole, you have to give back. We have to give back what you stole. But for the knas, you're potter. You admitted, I'm sorry, and I stole, and then the knas, the extra, you don't have to pay. Here's an nafkamina. Let's say a person came to Beis Din before there were any charges, and he admitted and he said, I'm sorry, my shor gored. Here's an nafkamina. If you say it's moment, you have to pay. You have to pay. It's moment minus 50. You have to pay. But if you say it's knas, it's 0 plus 50. Yeah, you have to pay that. Then what? You got to pay. But if it's knas, you don't have to pay. If it's knas, it's an extra, and you admitted it, and you don't have to pay. That's a very, very clear pashat nafkamina. Another nafkamina. Another nafkamina. Which base should judge it? Right? Is Beis-Din of Mumchim? Is it the Beis-Din of Rav Eliashiv and Rav Kurlitz, or Beis-Din of the three cowboys? McDavid, McMillan, not McMillan, whatever, yeah, something, McJewish. Yeah, who is a Beis-Din? That's another nafkamina. There are other nafkaminas. Stop. Question time, yes, and then we continue. Tnan. The line starts with the word heichi towards the end of the narrow lines. And now we're going to ask a question on one of the opinions. Now, we saw in our very own Mishnah, it says, Hanizak v'amazik b'tashlumin. What does that mean? Both Nizak and Mazik, they both pay the part in tashlumin, which means a Mazik, of course, pays, but the Nizak has, I don't know how to say it in English, ishtatfut atzmit, is deductible. Like you pay for your car, the insurance pays for the car that's broken, so you pay, you also have to pay some of the amount, right? Deductible? Excess, it's called in England, right? Excess at it, yeah. Excess, the excess I have to pay. So now here too, betashlumin, the nizak party, the damaged party, also has to pay something, also participates in the payment. How that goes, let's see. But now, Bishlama says the Gemara, I can understand that statement according to one opinion. Bishlam lamando palganizka mamoino, very good. If you say that Palganizka hefnezik is momoin. The mazik got a 50% off reduction. Hainu the shach nizak betashlumin. That's how the nizak pays half. Mamashlik the insurance. Insurance paid 50%. Who paid the mechanic the other 50? The garage. You. Same thing over here. I should have been paid 100. I lost 100, and that 100 should have been paid me'ikradin. Logically, I lose 50. I pay my part passively as a nizak by not being paid 100, only being paid 50, and he pays 50, and we all stay good friends. Fine. But if you say Palganizka Knoso means what? That he should have paid, the Mazik should have paid 0, and he pays 50 extra. So then, says the Gemara, Hashta now, the Lavdi de Shakil, he's taking something that's not his, like I told you before. Really, the Nizak deserves 0. The Torah gives a present to the Nizak of 50%, of 50. He should have been paid 0. Knas means, really, it's very, very innocent what's going on there. Very unexpected that the short time should pay. And yet, the short time Kilo gives a gift to the shor, Hanizak's owner, a 50% more. So he's taking lavdi day. He's saying taking money that Kilo he doesn't deserve, just the Torah gives him. Betashlumin, he's saying, and you call him that he participates in the nezek? Not only doesn't participate, he only gains. It's like 100% gain. Every shekel he gets is more than he's supposed to. Because me'ikar din, by simple logic, before the Torah opened its mouth and spoke, we would have said that he should have gotten 0, and he gets 50. You say that he participates in the nezek? That's not participation, fakert. It's as if I don't deserve anything from the bituach, from the insurance, and they gave me, from some reason, 50%. That's very nice of them. So don't call me that I'm participating in the excess. It's not true. And says the Gemara, Lo nitzracha ela lepchas nevela. Pchas nevela. Remember pchas nevela? Pchas nevela. Pchas nevela means as follows. Let's say my animal was worth 1,000. Now it's a short time or muad. Short time has to pay me how much? 1,000. Short time, what is it? Muad 1,000, time 500. All very nice. But let's say the animal's dead body, yeah, the corpse is worth how much? 200. Okay. So I'm not going to be paid. I'm going to pay you now 500. Excuse me. I'll pay you 300. Even a Kivatachtel knows that 500 minus 200 is 300, right? Very nice. The 200, my son loves math and he's good at math. My son, my Kita Aleph kid. The kids are, yeah. So then 500, yeah. 500 is the Nezek, but really there's 200 you can sell to Abdul Rahman and to Tim McKenzie, right? I'll pay only 300. That's simple. Stay with your 200 and I'll pay the 300 difference between dead or alive, Yofi. However, between the time of the Negicha and the time of going to Beis Din of Amud Bedin, surprisingly, the animal, he didn't find a freezer big enough for the bull. And now the animal, surprisingly, started to putrefy. And now the animal, instead of being the dead body, is not worth 200, it's worth 100. So how much do you have to pay him? 300 or 400? Because right now it's worth less. I only pay him 300. Very good, good memory. Shas Nezek, Shas Negicha, very good. And that's called Pchas Nevela. The Pchas, the wear and tear, the whatever, the difference, the lesser amount now of Nevela goes on who? On the Nizak. And that's the way for the Nizak to participate. Get me? In other words, Meikar Dina would have said that really he should pay me for the way it is now. I'm taking him to Beis Din, and I didn't manage to freeze it, and now it's rotting. What did you think is going to happen? And yet he only has to pay me kishas negicha, so it's not really even paying for the whole thing. I am taking the hishtatfus atzmis, the excess. The way it's expressed is by me paying the, let's say, 100. The difference between the freshly dead, and the one a week later that doesn't smell as nice, and Mackenzie wouldn't buy it. Maybe his very poor cousin would buy it, McKinley, but not everyone would buy it. It's worth less, and therefore that difference between the fresh nevela and the bad smelling nevela, the so-so nevela, that's the hishtatfut, that's ki'ilu the loss, so to speak, of the nizak. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. With all respect, Rabbi, there were two people ahead of you. Sorry. And then, yes, quick. No, you're second. Americans always beat you to it. Yes. Quick. So after a very interesting long discussion here, we're continuing. And now, Frag the Gemara, in the second to last narrow line, Pchas Nevela, Hatana Lareisha. You're telling me that the mission is Mechadish to Pchas Nevela, the concept of what you just said, that the damage was increased by the Nizak, the Mazik is not responsible of that. What happens after death is already your problem, Nizak, and not the Mazik. We learned it already. We know it already. Hatana Lareisha. We learned at the beginning of the first Mishnah, or the previous Mishnah, the Shlume Nezek, Melamed Shabalim Metaplim Benevela, that the Bailim, the owner, has to take care of the Nevela. So why does the Mishnah have to repeat itself? First wide line. And says the Gemara, Chada Betam, Chada Bemuad. Wow. You have to tell me that those mitigating damages, the fact that the damaged party has to take responsibility from the point of damage onwards, you have to say to me both by Tam and both by Muad. One Mishnah spoke about Tam, one about Muad. Why do you need to talk about both? What's the kesher? Mitzricha. I have to tell you both. There's min and Tam, mishum dakati lo ayayit. A Tam, another kula, Rabbi Rubenstein, another kula on the side of the mazik who owns that relatively innocent bull and which wasn't yet muad, I would have said because misken, he didn't expect it, we're giving him two kulas. One, half price. And secondly, we give another kula that he doesn't have to take care of the nevela. So instead of a whole 1,000, he only pays, let's say, 300 and not 400 and not... 500. No, excuse me. No, I meant the numbers for a change. Instead of excuse me, he scored 1,000 the time. He was worth 1,000. We give him two reductions. Number one, only 500, okay? Number two, from the 500, we'll look at the nevela, right? The nevela was worth 2. I only paid him 3. When the nevela came to Beis Din, it was only 100. So maybe you should pay him 400 and not 3. No, we say 2 kulas. We say first you reduce 50%. Secondly, the nevela belongs to the nizak, and I'm not paying him 4, only 3. Like the nevela was worth 200 at the beginning. That may have been part of the overall kula, the whole kula package we give the tam. Aval muad emaloi, but a muad I would go with Ellen. I would say muad your shor gored 3 times mechutzaf. Now you have to pay everything, a whole 1,000. Or all 900, meaning why 900? You have to pay 1,000. The nevela was worth 200. now is worth 100, you pay the entire 900. That's what I would have thought. I would have thought, Yumod Mechutzaf, you will pay for the putrefaction of the behema, of the dead body, from when he died until. That's a Havamina. Maybe with Muad will go very, very stark. That's why you have to tell us, by Muad, we are paying 1,000, but out of the 1,000, we take 200, not one, like the behema was worth at the time of death. And whatever ever happens post-mortem, we don't allege to the Bailim. B'kitzur Tam and Muad are equal. V'yesh min and Muad. So tell me only by Muad, and I would have known by Tam. Mishum de Kemishalim Kule. I would have said the other way around. I would have said, give the guy a break. He already pays everything, so maybe you give him a break, and we make him pay not 900, only 800. Yeah? Aval Tam Eimaloi. I would have said the fuch. Maybe balance it. The Tam already got 50%, so I should give him another reduction. Too much. How liberal can you get? How left wing can you get with a mazik tam, where it gave him 50%? You also give him a kula of not paying for what happens after the death, maybe not. Tzricha. The Mishnah said to repeat twice to tell me that these are all very nice shtiki svaras, very choshev svaras. At the end of the day, regarding paying for what happens after the death, from the fresh nevela to the not so fresh nevela, that difference is always the responsibility of the nizak and not the mazik, regardless to whether it's tam or muad. And now we're going to see about, okay, we'll see tomorrow what happens regarding the Moed B'Knas Botu. Thank you very much for a very vivid participation. May we not know any Nezikim, and maybe we'll be zoiche to see Mashiach soon, Bezos Hashem.
Hey, Nora.
Kol tu v'tzlochu Abba.